Dazzling Shopping Trip by Miss Sparkle Pony 1. Okay, are you sure that this is a good idea? Adagio asked as she slowly but surely pushed the trolley with Sonata in it. I mean, none of us have ever been shopping before. Adagio looked behind her to see Aria stomping behind, mumbling to herself. Adagio threw her a look of sympathy. That morning, the Dazzlings were doing their own thing. Adagio was checking her hair in the mirror while putting on enough conditioner to last the country a whole month. Aria was on the 5th night in her video game and was trying not to get caught from the puppet things. And Sonata was texting to Pinky if Frozen was better than Big Hero 6. That was when she jumped up and down on a table and declared that they were to go have a shopping trip that day. She quickly hopped off the table when Adagio entered the room. Adagio quickly took another look at Sonata's list and rubbed her temples as she sighed to herself. Sonata's awesomely fantastically taco-y list. Bananas, ice cream, tacos. Adagio sighed to herself. She needed to stop Sonata from hanging out with Pinkie Pie, or things that could get very ugly. She was already learning her language for Celestia's sake. Aria quickly appeared from behind Adagio and snatched the list out of her hand. She got out a pen from Adagio's hair and hastily wrote one more thing. Bombs. Wait, why do we need bombs of all things? Sonata looked puzzled as she scratched her head in confusion. So I can kill you with them, because thanks to you, that fox thing got me, and now I've got to start that night all over again. Aria grabbed a penknife, seemingly from nowhere, and chased Sonata into the store, screaming battle cries. Adagio stared at the other two with magenta wide eyes before facepalming. How did these two become my sisters? She threw her question in the air and got a couple of confused looks from normal people passing by as they were doing their weekly shopping. Adagio's usually yellow cheeks turned bright red before she ran into the store after her insane sisters. Sonata ran to Adagio and grabbed the list out of her hand. Okay, here's the deal. Aria, you get the ice cream. Adagio, bananas for you, while I get the tacos, Sonata sang, almost skipping on the spot. Wait, why do I have to get the ice cream? Sonata turned around slowly, with an evil grin plastered on her face. Because in the morning, your face is scrunched up like lemons, so you need to chillax by going into the freezer, Sonata replied smugly. Adagio gasped and brought forth a hand towards her face. Oh, no, she didn't! Aria, you just got cussed by Sonata. How do you feel? Adagio tried her best to conceal her giggles. Aria turned bright red, with her eyes shooting daggers, and shot death glares at Sonata that made Terek look tame. If we weren't in a store, Aria threatened as she cracked her knuckles. Sonata smirked and turned around, milking the situation as much as she could, only to be smacked in the face by a tower of cereal boxes. Cheerios, Cocoa Pops, Frosties, Apple Jacks, yes, that is the real cereal name, and Rice Krispies fell on top of the poor helpless siren. Ow! That hurts a lot more than it looks, she replied gingerly, rubbing a spot on her head gently. Adagio went up to Sonata with a satisfied look on her face. I have a better idea. You go and get the bananas, while I get other things we actually need to survive, Adagio announced and dropped the list into Sonata's hand. She waved her hand and headed towards aisle 14. Well, you heard her, loser. Let's get going, Aria said, still snickering about the cereal incident. Aria helped her little sis before throwing her onto a wall. But when we get back home, you'll get it, Aria added in a spooky way. Sonata gulped as Aria headed towards the frozen food aisle. She sighed and picked up her list, scanning over it one more time. Well, I better go and find the bananas. Adagio grabbed a bag of carrots and popped them into the shopping trolley. She took a second to relax and she looked down at her trolley. Pasta, rice, apples. Man, AG's going to give me grief about this. Olives, milk, water, whole grain bread, Juice, spices, and potatoes were filling up her trolley, and it was getting harder to move every section she passed. Adagio grabbed a cherry red sucker from her pocket and popped it in her mouth. Strawberry. My favorite. She knew that lollipops were only for Sonata, but she felt like she deserved it. I wonder how the others are doing, she said to herself. Aria scanned the frozen aisle and saw loads of things. Frozen pizza, chicken nuggets, burgers, fish, each one making it harder for her to resist throwing up in her mouth. She grumbled to herself as she stomped harder and harder on the floor. What kind of monstrosity is this place? I mean, people make a big deal about taking over the world, but they're fine with eating beings? God, how I hate this world so much, Aria ranted as she tried to get away from the horror she saw. Ducking cannibals they are, Aria muttered under her breath as she continued her journey towards the ice cream. Finally, she found her prize. All the way at the bottom of the aisle, there were boxes and boxes of ice cream. Perfect. Wait, how many boxes am I supposed to take? Aria considered her options for a moment before shrugging her shoulders and saying, I'll take them all. Aria found an abandoned trolley and grabbed it. She quickly stuffed all the ice cream into the trolley like a robber. A random boy holding a pretzel stopped and stared at the teenager's weird behavior. Sheesh, what's her problem? She needs to go to an insane asylum, the boy said as he licked on his strawberry pretzel. Sonata looked around for the bananas before realizing she had no idea what bananas actually were. She saw an old lady and decided to ask her, "Excuse me, ma'am, but do you know what a banana is?" The lady had green skin and grey hair tied in a bun. She looked like Cancelot High's dinner lady. "Yeah, of course I do, little lady. They're yellow." "Thanks, that's all the information I need." Sonata quickly interrupted the old lady's speech. "I'm sure I can find it somewhere." Sonata happily skipped along, keeping her eyes out for something yellow. She found a little yellow thing poking out of the cereal aisle. "Who would put a banana here of all places?" Sonata asked as she grabbed it. She tried to take it, but found that nearly impossible, as this banana was very stubborn. "Come on," Sonata mumbled. Suddenly, she heard a rip, and Sonata fell back into some nearby cereal boxes. Again. "My pride is really getting abused today, isn't it?" She jumped back up and held her prize in the air. "Huzzah! I found it!" Upon closer inspection, she realized that it looked a little hairier than usual. "What a weird-looking banana," she muttered to herself. Adagio stood next to the infamous cereal aisle, where she saw two familiar-looking girls heading straight towards her. One was pushing a cart overflowing with boxes, and one holding up one object. Adagio placed her hands on her hips and stared at them with a joyless expression. "Well, look who showed up. I thought you guys headed home without me," Adagio exclaimed, shifting her gaze from one girl to the other. Aria pulled up before thinking in her head, Why? Why didn't I think of that? She knelt down to pick up another ice cream box that tumbled onto the floor. "Sorry that we can't use our hair as storage," she mumbled. Adagio circled around Aria's shopping trolley, eyeing the thing like it was an alien that came from outer space. Exactly how much ice cream did you get?" Adagio integrated the innocent-looking siren. Aria shrugged her shoulders and grabbed another box from the floor. "Well, there's no more left, and let's just say I made a lot of kids sad," she answered, not really finding any problems. "Right. Sonata, what the heck is that thing? I asked for bananas, not whatever this is," Adagio stated, changing her gaze onto the ditzy one of the group. "At least I got us something we could survive by," she added while rolling her eyes. Aria took a closer look at the banana before snickering. Sonata, I think you just grabbed a lock off that country chick's hair from the rain blossoms." Sonata's eyes shrank. "Oops," she chuckled before looking back and screaming, "Sorry, Applejack, I'll replace it somehow." She turned around to get two shopping trolleys to the stomach. "Ow! What gives?" You were the one who suggested the idea in the first place, so you're going to pay for it all, Adagio announced as she and Aria headed towards the exit, before adding, remember the Taco Bell incident? Flashback. Sonata, no, but I need my tacos! And I need to take a shower. Now come on. Just leave her be, Adagio. Maybe she'll get locked in. That'll be funny. I'm not letting her get us into trouble again. Seriously though, Sonata, what were you thinking assaulting the mole cop with water bombs? I'm telling you, he's the Purple Man. That's just a video game. Purple Man doesn't exist. Remember when we went to the mall a few hours before our final performance? He told me to break a leg. You idiot. That means good luck. It's good luck to break a leg? Whatever. Taco Bell is closed. Tomorrow we'll get some tacos, okay? Chillax, Sonata. Maybe you'll find tacos in Adagio's hair. You're pushing it. Hey Adagio, can I find my keys in your... You guys are really pushing it. Why don't we use your hair as a portal to get back to Equestria? That's it. I'm bringing out Rubber Chicken. What? No! You know he gives us nightmares. Tough. Now come on. We're going home. Now. Okay. Loser. Good. Now Sonata, what was that about a guy at CHS writing a story about me and Fluttershy? Present day. Sonata shrugged about the return of Rubber Chicken. She still had nightmares to this day. Okay, I'll deal with this shopping. You guys wait for me at the car, okay? Sonata started pushing the shopping trolleys towards the till. Aria smirked as she saw her little sister struggling to try and be a big girl, and laughed. Now I know why you keep her around us. She can be our personal slave. Joy is karma. Aria stared at the sky with wide, dreamy eyes, mentally thanking the gods from above for the fair judgment. Adagio sighed and rubbed her temples while shaking her head. Let's just hope she can do that job without screwing something up or killing somebody. Adagio looked back, worried and feeling sorry for the poor innocent people in the mall. Adagio slowly counted the minutes before their favorite and only mall would be nothing more than burnt clothes and ashes. Before she left, she saw a lemonade stall and ran up towards it. She slammed a few bills on the table. 2 large lemonades, extra ice, and easy on the sugar, she asked as she leaned on the counter. The employee quickly nodded before getting to work. Before they knew it, the lemonades were ready and waiting. Here you go, ma'am. He passed the lemonades towards them. Thanks. Crazy sis business. Need to cool off, Adagio replied, grabbing the drinks and heading towards the car park. By the way, I would run if I were you. Adagio and Aria sat in the car, sipping their lemonades and starting to worry what was taking their sister so long. Adagio checked her watch for the 10th time, and Aria was about to head back in when they heard a scream, saw an explosion, and before long, their content mall turned into something from Jurassic World. The building's ceiling was completely missing, and all the windows were smashed. People were running for their lives with their clothing on fire and mud in their hair. They heard another ear-piercing scream and saw their sister running with the shopping bags in hand. Her clothing was ripped and her ponytail was loose and strands were sticking up on ends. She had a look that meant she had done something horrible. Okay, what did you do now? Aria asked as she ran up to their sister. Despite all was happening, she and Adagio were still sipping their lemonades. She wore a face of concern and gently placed a palm to her sister's forehead. Sonata was dripping with sweat. I didn't mean to. I did as you asked. I was about to leave the store when... Oh, where did you get those? Sonata's face brightened as she caught sight of the lemonades. Yeah, saw a store a while ago. I'll give you some if you tell me what happened, Aria replied, holding out the sweet drink. Anyway, so I went to the entrance when a man stopped by and asked me where I was going. So I told him I was about to go home when he said I had to pay for the items. It's so weird. Whoever heard of paying for food? Double facepalm. Oh. Anyway, he wouldn't let me pass, so I had to deal with him, Sonata said nonchalantly as she passed the shopping bags. Adagio's eyes shrank until they were barely visible anymore. Please don't tell me you. She could hardly form words anymore. What? No. What I meant was I locked him in the janitor's closet to make sure he wouldn't throw me out. And then I said that bananas are rubbish. But it turns out that comment made some customers upset. So they declared war on this country, and before I knew it, Sonata turned around and pointed towards the burning building. That happened. Adagio just stood there in horror, while Aria grabbed some shopping bags. Right guys, grab the bags. Hopefully the police won't— Put your hands in the air where I can see them, a loud voice rang out. The girls slowly turned around to see dozens of police cars. Ah, shoot, they're here. Right, Adagio, put these in your hair. Sonata, hit the gas. It's time to show these cannibals what these Dazzlings are made of. Aria spat out instructions. Adagio finally snapped back to earth when she saw Sonata behind the wheel. Let me. You guys get the ice cream boxes and throw them at those police guys, okay? Adagio jumped behind the wheel and hit the acceleration as hard as she could. The car span on the wheels before making a straight brake towards the exit. Police cars tried to stop them, but Aria and Sonata threw their ice cream boxes as fast and accurate as they could. Aria mumbled, "Good thing I bought all these ice cream boxes," before chucking another one out the window. Sonata stared straight ahead. Adagio, there's a broken bridge ahead of you! Sonata yelled and pointed towards the bridge. Adagio didn't slow down. Instead, she sped up and was heading towards the bridge. Adagio! Her sister screamed, but it didn't make any difference. Adagio showed no signs of stopping. Suddenly, they jumped off the bridge, the girls screaming as loud as they could. In the end, the girls found a cottage in the middle of nowhere and decided to settle that as their new home. For the rest of their days, they ate ice cream and told stories in the village nearby. Nobody would have expected that going to the shops would lead to so much trouble.